All right. Hello, everyone. Okay, since the last time, I accidentally destroyed my OBS config, so hopefully this all comes out okay. Looks okay, so I'm going to go with it. Also testing out a new mic mount, which is mostly here for keep my desk a little bit cleaner, but might improve the sound quality too. Should transfer vibration less, so we'll see about that. And I'm also testing out a new mute setup, so you should hear less mic clicking. And actually, let me test this out while I'm on the stream. So if I mute, boop. Yeah, okay. Looks like audio's gone on mute. All right, excellent. I believe everything's working. If for some reason the mute doesn't work, you're going to hear me clearing my throat and such, but hopefully it will. Okay. So let's see. I guess I should have had this up, but open. Oof. Oh, let's go here. All right, so mostly we're going to do contract development today, just kind of a casual stream, not a lot prepared for this. Open Web Foundry. Yes, here we go. Alrighty, so I did want to mention Open Web Foundry is doing another round of Open Web Foundrying things, and I believe, yeah, today, right after this, 12 p.m. Eastern, 11 a.m. Central, they have a community spotlight here, which a bunch of various folks from the Arweave ecosystem are going to be presenting at. So if that interests you, go join in there. These are open to everyone, as far as I know, anyway. And you know, it's I think very interesting to hear from other startups in the Arweave ecosystem community what they're doing. So if that interests you, go do that right after this. I probably will just do this for an hour. A little tired today, so I don't think I'll go over, so you don't have to worry about overlap there if you're following along here. And actually, let me see. Okay, yeah. Never quite sure how many people will join me on these things. But anyway, I'll continue on. Okay. So, one thing I teased, which is not really Arweave related, but is fun, is I don't know why I feel like I have to open up my tweets to talk about what I tweeted. I have access, and I have had access for a little while now to GitHub Copilot. Actually didn't bother setting it up for a while, and then within the past couple of weeks I started using it more, and wow, it is super useful. So I'm going to be using that. It doesn't. Actually, let me see if I can just show you what it looks like. So I use NeoVim mostly. I also use VS Code sometimes for stuff where, like I use it for editing plant UML because it's nice to get a preview of diagrams and such. But mostly I use NeoVim. So I'm using the NeoVim integration with GitHub Copilot, and it's worked great so far. I think you get a little bit more. Yeah, I think the VS Code interface is a little more. I don't know what the word I'm looking for. It has more bells and whistles, I think, in terms of like how it shows you the completion. And I do wonder, as this evolves, how well. I would think it could give you a lot of visual feedback that might be difficult in some of these other editors, older editors. But whatever. Right now, I think they're roughly on do the same thing, but in VS Code you get a little more visual feedback about like what's what in terms of completion. So, yeah, I'm trying to think if I should. Yeah, actually, let me just do. Let's do this. So if I do something like function add two numbers a. Oh, yep, there we go. So, this is a silly example, but it knows what I'm doing and it's going to complete it for me. And, I would say, actually, I should show some more fun stuff. So there's this Arweave schema I've been working on. Um, I knew this would happen. As soon as I started talking about GitHub Copilot, I'm just going to spend like 20 minutes here talking about GitHub Copilot. But I don't know. It's fun and interesting. So we'll... Oh, why is it complaining here? Must have just been an artifact there. Let's see if I can get it to do this too. So I've been working on this schema for Arweave data, and it does some just crazy completions in here sometimes. Some of which I don't really use, but I'm just amazed it will do them. So like this one, I was going through here adding the field size to a bunch of these things, and then I realized, oh, Postgres doesn't actually let you add a field size to byte types like that, which was interesting to find out. But so at one point I had comments here. Yeah, exactly. So, okay, here we go. This, it doesn't know, there's nowhere in here that I used the word block header. So it just completed this for me. It's inferred just from, I mean, it's not, it's crazy to me that the computer can do this, but I mean, it's not hard to infer as a human looking at this like, oh, this is obviously a blockchain, right? You have the previous block, you have, there's tons of stuff in here that gives you clues, but that Copilot is able to figure it out and have a reasonable guess that this is the hash of the block header, and nowhere in this repo is the word header found. It's just kind of mind-blowing to me. And it's, you know, criticism of these language models is often that, oh, they're just like regurgitating things. And I think to some degree that's true. It's sort of like, the way I would describe what it's doing is like very fancy look up with very intelligent, or, you know, maybe not very intelligent, but reasonably intelligent, like search and replace. So it's like if you, you know, train monkeys to go Google search for things and copy and paste and like replace variable names. But like I don't know, monkeys couldn't infer some of this stuff. So it's smarter than that. But just imagine like you had something that magically automated your Stack Overflow search workflow. It's a lot like that, and it just puts in the things, you know, with reasonable substitutions. So I think it's slightly more intelligent than that, and I think there's actually a lot of examples of it doing like sort of shockingly intelligent things. But if you just have that mental model of it, not the mental model of it's going to write a lot of code for me, I think you can start to see why it's super useful, because so much of what we do is just going out on the internet, searching for some code, some example of what we're trying to do, and dumping that into our code. You know, this was especially true. I was writing some Go, you know, Golang this past week, and I can read Go, but I don't write it. It's not. In fact, that may have been the first Go I've ever. Well, not quite. I haven't written very much Go, so I don't know, you know, the standard library, and it's so useful in that situation. I can just put in things like serialize this variable to JSON and write it to a file, and it will spit out something that's reasonable, and from that I can get it to do what I want. That is so useful and saves you so much time as you're working with code. It's just phenomenal. So if you have a chance to get access to it, do get access to it. It seems really clear to me that this is just going to be standard fare for programming going forward. And if you look at where these language models are right now, you know, right now it really, I think, needs to be Microsoft or big companies that are operating these things because of the cost. But you know, all you have to do is just look at the hardware roadmaps that people have laid out, like not the, oh, we need to invent new research, but like the, here's what NVIDIA is going to be doing in the next, say, 4 years. And these models are going to get cheap enough that they're just going to be all over the place. So anyway, sorry, that's my. I hope that's interesting to people. I think this is a huge deal. Um, you don't have to believe that it's like super smart and going to write everyone's code to believe it's a huge deal. You just have to think about what you do day to day while writing code, and realize that this automates a big part of that, and not the fun part. In my opinion, it automates the boring part. You know, I'm of the opinion that these things may kind of go all the way within, the next 20 years or so, and write a lot of stuff, basically be able to do the whole thing. But even if you don't think that, and you just want to be like, okay, what can this do now? It automates a ton of the boring stuff for you. So in the immediate future, not going to replace you. Long-term future, who knows? But yeah, I think it's really clear that this is going to be a major part of most programmers' workflow. And certainly, like, I can imagine, I'm not in the situation now, but like, say you join a company and have a big complex code base. It's going to be vastly different for a company that is running some model like this on their code base and having all their developers use it versus one that's not. Like, the difference in productivity, I think, is going to be enormous. I gotta believe Google has an internal version of this too. They haven't said that, but like, how could they not? As soon as someone demonstrates that it's useful, and they certainly have the compute and the engineering to do it, why would they not do that? Yeah, I should stop rambling about that, because probably most people are showing up for Arweave stuff. I may throw in some more thoughts throughout here, but yeah, so we should see what it can do. I've shown a few demonstrations of trivial stuff, but let me just double check, see if I have any questions. No, nothing. All right. Okay, so back to the main topic here. I started talking about that, and I could just go on and on, because I think the implications of this are quite large, in a number of ways. But the topic here is Arweave. I'll try to stay focused on that. What I want to do today is just try to wrap up this contract to the point where it's usable for like a public release I don't know what to call it. Like it can't be a test net, because you're not going to be mining on a test net. You're going to be mining on mainnet, but it's going to be like a prototype version of the contract, and then eventually probably ownership of that contract will roll into the quote real contract. So most of what we need is implemented. So last time, it does transfers, and it does this thing where you can stake and unstake, and your unstaking happens a fixed amount of time after you unstake. So basically you stake, that's staked indefinitely, and then when you unstake, it unlocks. I just have it hard coded. Actually, let's extract that. So, man, getting the thing to do refactorings automatically would be super sweet. I bet it could too, because they can train on Git history. That's the crazy thing I've been thinking about too. Like, all the Git repos have history of the edits and in theory what they mean. So there's a lot of data out there to train this stuff. Oops. Okay, so let's do just like a simple extraction here. Yeah, so the unstaking, happens. You say unstake, and then you're allowed to then use that in the future. You don't want the users to be able to take it right away, because they might be in the middle of a mining round, and you want to make sure you still have a chance to freeze or slash their balance without them transferring it all away. So yeah, my brain just went off and like, oh, how do you freeze the future balance? Well, that's what we're going to implement, so we'll get to that. So anyway, let's extract this magic number here. I think these kinds of constants, are probably going to go into settings in the contract ultimately, and then the community could vote on them. I still want to think about that more, because yeah, that probably is what'll happen ultimately. You just need to be careful about governance and like attacks on the thing over time if you let the settings be tuned. Maybe you could have some like ranges, like sane ranges. Anywho, let's extract this. So do what the to-do says. I think I'll make another line here. These are all inputs basically, so I think I'll make another line for constants. Ooh, wow, what is it doing? That's crazy. Yeah, occasionally it does stuff like that where it's like, whoa, what the heck is it doing there? Sometimes the interaction with completion is a little annoying too, but it's just like UI stuff. It's not anything super important. Okay, so anyway, what's our constant here? Our constant is 6,000. We should call this const unstake interval. I don't like, it's not interval weight. I don't love that, but it is fairly descriptive. Unstake weight. Okay. I'll probably come up with a better name, but we'll go with that for right now because I think it is sufficiently descriptive. Oh yeah. Declared but not used. That is true. Unstake weight. Yeah, this mute toggle is nice. Hopefully it works the way I'm thinking it does, and you don't hear me all the time. But I'll see when I listen back to this. Okay, so extract the magic number. That's good. Okay, let's go ahead and implement freeze and unfreeze. So this is gonna be a little tricky. Well, is it? I think maybe not. I think it shouldn't be too bad. Let's do this. So I'll leave it to do for now. So let's see. Should we freeze? Okay, so what are we doing for freeze? I think we should just make it that you can only freeze the staked balance. So yeah, actually this should be quite simple, I think. And let's see what happens. So let's just try freeze the staked balance of the caller and see what it prints out here. Okay, now what? Stake balances minus equals quantity. Yeah, if caller not in balances. Not quite right, but we can use it, right? So if caller not in, actually, let's go. Frozen balances. Okay. See if it does anything better. Oh, this is just, yeah. I can't even. That's the right code. So the caller is not in the frozen balances. Frozen balances. Caller is. Okay, not quite. So in this case, I don't think we need to. It's not going to be a map. It's going to be. I think what we want is staked balances. Yeah. It's thinking that we want a structure that is similar to the balances when actually what we want. Oops. Oh no, that is right. actually what we want is staked balances in frozen. That's just regular. Oops. Frozen. And then frozen balances. Yeah. So it was thinking that we wanted a structure that was more like the regular balances structure, when actually what we want is a structure that's like the staked balances structure, because there's no need to time lock this thing. Yeah, so we're going to validate the positive quantity if staked balances. I am typing this into the wrong spot. Okay. Well, GitHub Copilot won't save me here. Okay, let's do this. Let me just clean it up and get here. Oh, okay, well, whatever. Stake balance is color minus quality. Frozen balances, yeah, okay. Yep, okay. Well, let's go get, I think we just want, oh, I killed it, didn't I? I killed the, so annoying. Okay. Sorry, I'm fumbling around trying to correct this. Okay, so frozen balance. Yeah, let me put this back. There we go. Okay. Unstake weight. Okay, I think I got it now. Okay. So input function freeze. All right, is this doing what we want? Input.function equals freeze. We're going to get the quantity. We're going to validate the positive quantity. We're going to get the available balance. That's not what we want. Okay, so we want the staked balance here. Staked balance. This would be, let's get this guy. Okay, staked balance, and we want the staked balance here. Then we're going to say freeze. Okay, so input function equals freeze. Constant quantity. So the staked balance is equal to the stake balance is the caller. If stake balance is less than the quantity, then clearly we can't freeze it because you can only freeze the staked balances. And the way this is going to work, again, just this is not how the finalized version will work. Only the owner can freeze staked tokens. So in this one, owner has God mode and can just freeze stuff that's staked, but not stuff that's not staked. But then the owner can evolve the contract, so the owner can kind of do whatever they want in this. But during the early days, that's fine. The main thing we don't want is just completely untrusted people in the pool doing nefarious things and then making off with tokens without any sort of penalty. So. Okay, so I think this is right now. So stake balance, we're going to get stake balance. We're validating the owner. I don't 100% know what sort of convention people use. I think we should put this down here. Yeah. I'm typically of the put the variable declaration as close to where it's being used as possible. I think that's what JavaScript people generally do too. Although I probably shouldn't worry about that. I should probably just do what I think is correct anyway. Okay, this collar balance is insufficient to freeze quantity of tokens. Okay, that's fine. Fine. Freeze the stake balance of the collar. So we're going to take minus the quantity. And if there's no frozen balances yet, we're just going to set that to the quantity. Looks good. So all we need to do now is do unfreeze. So unfreeze. Only the owner can unfreeze stakes tokens. Yeah. I'm realizing here I have the same thing open side by side, and that's kind of silly. We're going to do tests next, and then that will make more sense. Okay, so unfreeze. Input equals unfreeze, and then here we want to have the frozen balance. Frozen balance. Frozen balances. And the frozen balance less than the quantity collar of frozen balance. Wait, cannot find frozen balance. Oh, frozen is. I cannot stop thinking about the stuff that like Copilot could do as I'm writing this, because it could be actually. For every line, it's probably computationally too expensive for them to do this right now. I don't know though. Like for every line, it could be giving you a bunch of predictions. So if I have something like frozen balance here, it could over on the side have what it thinks is the most likely line, and I can pretty much guarantee you it's not going to be this. And in fact, yeah, it's just I think these things are going to be crazy useful, especially as the cost of running them goes down, because right now you're a little bit constrained, I think, on how much you can run them continuously on the code. It's really kind of blowing my mind. Okay, freeze the stake balance, so we want to unfreeze we'll say that. So and let's see, just to be consistent, we'll say freeze continuity wise. Okay, unfreeze UI balance of the collar, so staked balance collar, so it should be frozen balances, collar minus equals quantity. Yeah, it's just gonna be wild. You could do, I'm pretty sure you could do refactorings. Like say you take a whole piece of code and you just give it an instruction like rename variable this to variable that. I think you could get models to do that. It's wild. Okay, so yeah, caller in frozen balances. This would be I think what we want to do is just, we have a transfer. Where's our transfer? Balance, transfer, yeah. I think you can just do this. Right, so we're subtracting the frozen balance. There's no target, which should all be on caller. Okay, if input function equals unfreeze, we're going to check the owner. Only owner can unfreeze staked tokens. Unfreeze, no, not unfreeze staked tokens, just unfreeze tokens. Okay, then the frozen balance is equal to the frozen balances passed in the caller, and the frozen balances is less than the quantity. If the frozen balance is less than the quantity, then we don't have enough to, it's insufficient to unfreeze. Caller frozen balance. Yeah, let me correct this. It should be staked balance. Staked balance of staked tokens is insufficient to, and this is insufficient to unfreeze. So yeah, this will just basically, you know, if someone misbehaves, we'll freeze their tokens. That will put them into token purgatory, and then we can unfreeze. And I don't really think we need to do any real slashing in this situation. Yeah, I don't think we need to. Because what's going to happen is ultimately we'll come out of this test mode. The token allocation in the test mode will be used to determine the token allocation in the production, you know, whatever, non-test, non-beta. I should probably call it like alpha or beta or something like that. The beta contract, the alpha contract, that balance will turn into the some subset of the balances in the production contract. Release contract. I don't know. I got to workshop the the language here. So yeah, it's going to turn into some balance in the finalized contract, and we can just ignore the frozen balances when that happens. So makes sense. Makes sense. So call a frozen balance of blah is insufficient to unfreeze tokens. Okay, so we're going to subtract the frozen balances from the caller. We're going to consolidate the balances so we know the balances of the caller exists. I think it would have to anyway if you ever got into this situation, but whatever, just for sanity, we're going to do that. Then the balances of the, you know, it's interesting. I was just thinking so in SmartWeave, we don't have to worry about the computational cost of this too much because this sort of gets executed on client machines. In the, I guess in like Solidity, in that you would have to really think about whether you're doing extra checking, because all the extra checking is going to be cost something to run in the nodes. It's kind of interesting. It's going to be a lot of like optimization pressure on smart contract code over time. I would expect some pretty interesting stuff to emerge on that, because it's like directly costs money. So anytime you have money directly hooked up to something, you get a ton of optimization pressure. Should be interesting to watch. Okay, so consolidate balances, and we know the balance exists. SmartWeave block height to string. So we're going to add it to the current height. Looks right to me. Let's just run, make sure we didn't do anything too crazy here. Hopefully tests still run. All right, cool. Our like proof of concept initial test run. By the way, I'm currently still using Jest, but probably going to switch to Mocha because that's what I'm using on other things because other people are using it, and I just the level at which I do not care about having novelty in test frameworks is it's astronomical. It's the most boring thing in the world to me. I just want to have consistency so that everything works. Okay, so let's start writing some tests. This should be interesting too because I would think that we get some pretty crazy completions here. Okay, so should transfer. I think this test is doing too much. I think I'm not going to worry about it now, though. I think I'm just going to start writing another test. So we'll copy this one. Let's see. What do we want to do? So let's do... should... Oh, I think all of this is within like the top level transfer block. So yeah, I just want to get some rough stuff outlined here. Yeah, describe transfer balances. Let's do this. So describe freeze. No, we'll do describe stake balance. Don't like that description actually, but yeah, I'm not going to worry about it too much in a moment. So copy that, but I think I want to just see what it completes if I do something crazy like should freeze. There we go. I also want to see if it fills in anything. Oops. Yeah, let's give it a second. So what did it fill in here? Oh, I just tried to do like the exact same thing. They probably have some who knows? I'm not going to speculate. Would not be surprised if they have some like heuristics that they use too for this stuff, in addition to the neural net they're using. Yeah, so let's just start by modifying this one. So should freeze, right? So, oh no, should stake. Yeah, the description is terrible. I will make these better tests in the future. So we don't need any of this wallet one stuff because we're just dealing with one. Oh, did I not? I'm not even using that in the other one either. So, okay, whatever. Don't need any of that. Do I have staking? No, I do not. Okay. Let's simplify this. So you're just going to start out with zero balance. Or I'm sorry, start out with however many million balance this is. We're minting a bunch of tokens. Oh, I do use it. I don't know why my search, I thought my search didn't show. Oh, it's because I searched for the wallet as opposed to the wallet address, and I don't really reuse the wallet, just the wallet address. Okay. Right. So let's do, this should be, no target. We'll just do stake. Yep, because of course it knows that. View state balance. And we'll just comment these out. Oops. I also totally want this for command line completion. That one probably gets a little bit trickier to train because cannot find in. Interesting. Interesting. In undefined. Okay. Well, this is clearly a bug. What's my bug here? Caller in staked balances. Ah. Interesting. I guess because staked balances is undefined? Ah, because I misspelled it. That would do it. And let's, while we're at it, we'll add frozen. I don't think we need to care about this because shouldn't be able to make I was just thinking, do we need to care about this case in the code? I think not, because these things are going to be objects. I mean, maybe I could add a little defensive code there, but I think it's probably not that useful. Okay, what do we have? Cannot use in undefined. Really? Did I not save that? In staked balances. Staked balances. Really? Oh, it's because right. So I have it here. I should extract. I put it in the wrong one. Frozen. Ah, no. This is one of the things that's a little annoying. Is sometimes my completion fights, because you have Copilot and then you also have the other thing trying to complete. Also, super curious if they use LSP, like the language server stuff, to train the models. Makes sense. I mean, that's the thing about code generation. There's so much tooling around coding already, and you can use that tooling to help train the models. Super fascinating. Okay, so should stake. Also, let me check. Nope, no comments. Okay. Right interaction stake. Okay, so what did our output look like here? Did we? I think we're just outputting the balance, right? So not the actual contract state. Let's do this. See what the whole state looks like. Oh, but I think. Oh no, it is everything. I was gonna say, how am I getting that? So that's coming from wallet balance equals view state balance. Function balance. Interesting. Oh, fascinating. So it actually has the whole contract state and what it returns there. That's pretty interesting. Okay. Right, so we have our staked balances there. Should stake... Okay, so let's do... Do I want to add... I don't really care about adding that right now. I was going to say, do I want to add like a function that returns the staked and unstaked, or the other balances? I probably should. Kind of don't care about doing that at the moment, so we'll just add in, since we know it's returning the state, we can do staked balances. I'll add this to do here. So to do implement staked balance and frozen balance. Okay, so, but we are getting that in the state anyway, so we don't really need to worry about this. So we want the balance should be that, and then the result the state frozen balances, and then wallet address 0. I feel like that should be wallet 0 address, but yeah, that probably should be. Staked balance. Yeah. Crazy. That is just crazy. In case you didn't notice, it completed implemented there. Everyone makes fun of language models so they interact with them. It's like crazy what they do. To be 100, what do we get? Undefined. Okay, well, that means my brain completion is not working, right? What did I do wrong? Okay. We got staked balances. Did I put... I probably put frozen. Should have been staked. Staked balances, while at 0 to be 100. Yep. Let's do it. All right, cool. Works. Let's go ahead. Again, I'm just doing this kind of very rough way. Should stake and unstake. So we'll take this and we'll say, and then this is all going to get translated into Mocha and splitting. I'm inventing words now. Split up more. Okay, so let's do that. We can just comment out this for now. Okay, so we mined. We'll want another mine, and we'll do unstake. Right interaction. Oops. Unstake. Quantity 100. Contract right interaction, unstake 100. And then let's grab this. So what do we expect to happen here? I expect the balance to be the same because it will unstake in the future, but I expect the stake balance to be 0. Ooh, interesting. Received 100. Why? Oh, it's because I'm using the... Yeah, I gotta get the balance again. Duh. I guess let's do this. I'll just do a let. Got it. Okay. Now, let's just do the same thing for freeze and unfreeze. Should freeze the balance. Should freeze and unfreeze. So it's going to be the same thing. No, yeah, so we'll just do freeze here. staked balances and the frozen balances to be 100, right? So do the same thing. We stake. This unstaking, we freeze. Frozen balance should be 100. Why would that be? Received 100 there. Staked balances. What about, maybe I subtracted something from the wrong place. That could be. Nope. Frozen balances. Okay. Why? Why? Why is that happening? Okay. So we're doing a freeze with the quantity. What happens? Just make a little sanity check here. What happens if we do this? Am I doing something stupid? What am I doing? If input function equals freeze, we're writing the function freeze. The quantity is that. Stake balance. Yeah, I don't quite understand. We're freezing. Let's print out the state here. Not some sort of weird. Shouldn't be any sort of sequencing thing here that I can think of. It's like, is there a aliasing problem or mutation problem I'm not thinking about? Guess I could check that. Staked balances. Frozen balances. So it's like the freeze didn't. Right, interaction freeze. The freeze didn't do anything. Why? If input function owner. Oh. Yeah. It's because it's because this is not the contract owner. I think no, that's not right. Let's just do this. Good old print line debugging here. Yeah. So who is the owner? Let's log the state. Wallet 0, Arweave wallets generate, wallets JWK address. Wouldn't the wallet 1? Oh, is the owner interesting? So I was thinking, I was thinking that the owner was something that was set up by SmartWeave, but I guess that's not the case. Interesting. You have to write the owner into the state. Okay, okay. So where are we getting here? We're getting to here two, and then what? Console log. Oh, that's right. It should be failing now because the balance we're trying to move is too large. Okay, okay, interesting. So contract source, the right interact. I guess what I'll need to do. Okay, so this is a SmartWave question. I need to go look at the API. Ooh, interesting. More people watching than I expected. I need to go look at the API for SmartWeave. Yeah, not worth doing right now. Okay, so it is just about 11 now, 11 my time, which means the Open Web Foundry is about to start. I'm also going to wrap up in just a second. I think I've basically done what I want to do. I guess for those who are hanging on here, I'll just do this. You can get the satisfaction of seeing my test run correctly. I hope. No. Why not? Cannot read property. Oh, now I'm typoing again. Cool. Cool. Also got a bunch of junk output here, but console. Nice. Okay. I think we are good here. So obviously these are extremely messy tests, but they are hitting a bunch of the code. So I'm, not in a stream because it's boring and not worth watching. I'm going to switch to Mocha. Again, not because I don't like Jest. It's just that I'm using Mocha elsewhere, and having novelty in that area is just, it's like the most boring thing. Test frameworks are like the most boring thing in the world to me, unless they're doing some other kind of novel testing like generative testing or something like that. So I just want to be consistent everywhere across all the projects I'm working on right now, and basically everything else I'm doing is using Mocha and Chai. And so I'm going to do that. I'll also refactor these. These are obviously like super messy tests. I would want them to test smaller bits of code. And I also would like to get some test coverage going. Ultimately, I want to generatively test this too, and I think that would make pretty good streaming material. So let's see, definitely not going to stream next week, maybe the following week. And I don't know if it'll be generative testing yet, but anyway, I think generative testing will be a future thing. And I honestly don't know if that's done in the smart contract world or what like the state of the art is. I probably need to understand that better. But generative testing is basically where you have some sort of generating function that just spews output that is at least it's like fuzzing a little bit, but it tries to generate valid inputs, but from the complete set of valid inputs. So it's very, very good at finding edge cases in stuff uh, that you write. So I would like to generatively test this. I think that would make a good streaming topic because I think it's something probably other smart contracts should be doing too. Um, yeah, I think that's it. So, yeah, thanks for joining in. I hope that this was interesting. I think we've covered the basic functionality I need. Just clean up testing, that kind of thing uh, that I need to do on this. Should be enough for public release after I do other non-smart contract things too. And I don't know, I hope my GitHub Copilot ramblings were interesting. I highly recommend if you can get into the beta or whatever they're calling it, like do it because I think it will get more people thinking in interesting directions about how to um, augment human capabilities in writing code. I think there's a lot more that can be done and stuff that does not require major breakthroughs. I think one really interesting way to think about that space in general is just assume that we get no AI breakthroughs and just make everything cheaper. Because we know everything's going to get cheaper because you can see it in published, committed hardware roadmaps. Not that those are set in stone, but usually, a public company puts out a hardware roadmap that doesn't require R&D breakthroughs. It's going to happen. The timing might vary a little bit. So you can get some idea of like what the cost is going to look like in the next 5 years. And just take what we have now and project the cost based on that into the future, and you can start to get an idea of what's going to be possible. So I think that's an interesting way to look at some of these things. That's how I try to do it if I'm trying to make any kind of predictions about where things will go. And if you play with this stuff, it's just, especially if you have any idea how the machine learning models work, you're just going to start thinking about all kinds of possibilities of things we could do with it based on current technology and the assumption that things will get cheaper. So yeah, I think it's a really exciting time to be programming and in computing in general for a whole variety of reasons. So I encourage everyone to go check out GitHub Copilot if you can, because it's just really fascinating. All right, I've rambled. I've rambled more about it, but yeah, that's it. So thanks for joining, and I'll talk to you next time, probably in a couple weeks. Definitely not next week, but probably 2 weeks. I would think I'll do another stream. So see you then.